Russia warns of unintended escalations as U.S. prepares military options for Nigeria. In a stark reminder of the fragile balance of global power dynamics, Russia's foreign ministry has issued a veiled warning to the United States, vowing to keep a close watch on any potential American military moves in Nigeria. The statement, delivered amid mounting rhetoric from Washington about intervening in West Africa's most populous nation, underscores growing international unease over President Donald Trump's aggressive stance on alleged religious persecution. Speaking at a routine press briefing in Moscow on Friday, Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova addressed concerns raised by the Anadolu news agency about Trump's recent threats. "We are closely monitoring this issue and call on all parties involved to strictly comply with international legal norms," Zakharova said, her tone measured but firm. She emphasized that such adherence is essential to prevent unintended escalations in an already volatile region plagued by insurgency and resource conflicts. Zakharova's remarks come just days after Trump's provocative announcement on November 1st, which has sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles and Nigerian society alike. In a fiery social media post, the U.S. president declared he had directed the Pentagon to draw up options for possible military measures against terrorist groups in Nigeria. Citing what he described as an existential threat to Christian communities, Trump accused the Nigerian government of failing to curb the slaughter of cherished Christians by Islamic militants. If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria, and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns ablazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities, he wrote. The outburst followed Trump's designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern under the International Religious Freedom Act on October 31st, a move that labeled the nation among the world's worst offenders for religious intolerance. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth quickly echoed the sentiment, posting a terse "yes sir" on social media and confirming that the Pentagon was preparing for action. Nigeria's security landscape is indeed fraught, but experts caution that Trump's portrayal oversimplifies a multifaceted crisis. The country has grappled with violence from groups like Boko Haram and its splinter factions, as well as farmer-herder clashes and banditry in the north-central and northeastern regions. These conflicts have claimed thousands of lives annually, affecting Muslims and Christians indiscriminately, according to reports from human rights organizations and local analysts. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu swiftly rebuffed Trump's claims, asserting in a statement that the U.S. characterization does not reflect our national reality, and ignores his administration's consistent and sincere efforts to protect religious freedoms. Tinubu's press secretary went further, labeling the narrative a gross exaggeration, and noted that attacks on churches, mosques, and civilians occur randomly across ethnic and religious lines. Military planners at U.S. Africa Command, AFRICOM, headquartered in Germany, have since been thrust into overdrive. According to defense officials cited in the New York Times, AFRICOM has drafted 3 escalatory options, light, medium, and heavy, for potential intervention, ranging from drone surveillance and targeted airstrikes to special forces deployments. These plans were forwarded to the Joint Staff at the Pentagon earlier this week, though officials privately admit that deploying an aircraft carrier to the Gulf of Guinea or committing ground troops would strain U.S. resources already stretched thin by commitments in the Pacific and Middle East. The trigger for Trump's focus appears tied to a recent Fox News segment highlighting attacks on Christian farmers, which sources say captivated the president within hours. Speaking aboard Air Force One on November 2nd, Trump declined to rule out boots on the ground, reiterating his America First foreign policy while framing the issue as a moral imperative. Critics, including former military officials, have decried the social media-driven directive as impulsive, leaving AFRICOM personnel scrambling over the weekend to interpret vague orders. Russia's intervention adds a layer of intrigue, positioning Moscow as a counterweight to U.S. unilateralism in Africa. Long a key partner to Nigeria through arms sales, energy deals, and diplomatic ties, Russia supplied over 70% of Nigeria's military hardware in recent years. Kremlin watchers see Zakharova's comments as a subtle jab at Washington's interventionist tendencies. History contains numerous examples of the United States claiming it is on the verge of resolving a conflict or combating a manifestation of global evil through force, she added, a nod to past U.S. operations in Iraq and Libya that Russia has frequently criticized. On social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, reactions have been polarized. Nigerian users express fears that foreign intervention could exacerbate ethnic divisions, with one analyst posting, "Trump's military plans will only worsen the volatile situation. Our leaders need support, not invasion." Evangelical voices in the U.S., however, have rallied behind the president, with posts amplifying calls for action against genocide. Meanwhile, Nigeria's newly appointed army chief, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, promised on Friday to intensify domestic operations against terrorists, signaling Abuja's determination to handle the crisis internally. The episode risks derailing a bilateral relationship valued at over $10 billion in annual trade, including U.S. aid for counterterrorism and economic development. Some observers speculate ulterior motives, such as pressuring Nigeria to accept deportees from Trump's immigration crackdown, a demand Abuja has rebuffed. Others point to broader U.S. strategies to counter Chinese and Russian influence in Africa's resource-rich Sahel region.